So you're joining us on another street lighting video. As I've mentioned in one of the last ones I've either uploaded or is due to be uploaded, I've been coming across quite a few different types of fittings I've been asked to install, and today's video is going to be installing one of them. So it's going to be another replacement of a 55 watt SOX fitting. I'll give you a wee look at it in a second. It's a ASD, that's the brand, ASD lighting, and it's a 16 watt fitting, I believe. It's a little bit different to some of the other ones I've done, so I'll give you a wee look at it. For these wee fittings, I suppose there's pros and cons to everyone, but I'm still quite mixed on these ones. They're quite footery to work with. They're really small and compact, which isn't always a bad thing, but in this case it's just makes it quite difficult to work on. But again, I'll give you a wee look at it just now and let you see what I'm talking about. This is the fitting here, so that's all the specs for you guys. Obviously it's 16 watt and that's the colour it's putting out. This one comes with, obviously it's quite small, but it's like the NEMA socket attachment, so obviously I've added on a short plug to that, and then for getting into it, it's just this bit here lifts up and then this wee lever pops off, but again I'll show you that in a bit better detail. And that's the standard size neck or collar, or whatever you want to call it. That's what that comes with. So you've obviously had a wee look at it there, but once we're up in the bucket, we'll obviously give you a proper look at it. So we'll nip up in the bucket just now and we'll remove the old 55 watt. I think, looking at the fittings here, I think it's old Thorn style fittings, and it's the ones that's just got a few bolts, nuts and bolts that you need to take off, so it shouldn't be too bad a job to get this one off. I've found recently sort of 90% of the fittings I'm having to hammer off, but this one doesn't look as if it's going to give us that much grief. So this is our column here, so it's one of the ones that's got it's like a side drop down fittings. I'm sure they're Thorns. So as usual, we'll take the door off, take the fuse out. Obviously the box is just, so this is R3, the box is just up at R1 there, so just beyond that last car on the left. I will take my fuse out, check the fuse obviously, and then keep the fuse out just in case someone was to energise this. It's going to be safe to work on. Again, it's always so difficult to do this one-handed and do it quickly. There's that off. So that's the fuse in there. That looks quite an old one, but we'll obviously check that. I'll take that in my pocket with me. I'll put this door back on, but I'll maybe need 2 hands for that. And then I'll get you up in the bucket and you can watch how I'm going to replace this one and install the new one. So it will actually probably be better and easier to show you down here. Firstly, excuse the state of the bucket, but I've obviously done quite a few fittings today, hence the state of it. I'll obviously give it a clean out at the end of each shift, but that aside, so for accessing these, my first, and obviously I had a few gripes about them, is this hinge is absolutely solid. So straight away you need to pry that off of that, and that's what I don't like, because you're damaging the fitting straight away. You've no other choice unless you're an absolute animal and can just sort of rip that open. But this wee pack of screws that you get, it's upside down, so they're just anti-tamper screws, and when you install your fitting, they just go in there and screw into the holes there. but I'll put them in my pocket and catch it at the end. I'll need to check my bag for my anti-tamper kit. But so this brings me on to gripe number 2 with this. So I've been used to sort of installing quite a few different variations of 55 watt fittings, and a lot of them you can just, it's usually a TRS gland or a stuffing gland, and you can just get your cable through, no bother. But this is more of a grommet style, and there's no way of getting that cable through there. So part of the reason why I've got so much excess flex in here is because you're needing to burst that a wee bit just to get your cable through. Again, this is quite difficult one-handed, but I'm sure you get what I mean. So you need to burst that a wee bit to be able to put flex through the wee draw wire. So there's my draw wire. So obviously when I'm up there and get that fitting off, I'll just butt them up, the two ends, tape it on, and it's just a bit easier for me to pull through. So I'll get myself sorted, get myself strapped in, and then we'll go up and we'll do what we need to do. I will go up and we'll get this old fitting off and put the new one on. So this is our fitting here. I'm sure I've brought one of these to the channel before, sort of replacing it, but it's just 2 clips here. Had a wee look down, there's nobody below me, but you can see there's water in this. So you can see there's a big hole. So this has likely been, you can see tape as well there. So that's a clear sign that a temp cable has probably been put up either between this pole and this pole at some point, or that pole and that pole with a cable fault. So water's obviously getting in there. So that'll be the reason that this fitting's gubbed. You can see like that. Dead spiders, dead wasps. But again, the good thing with this is you don't really need to strip this down too much. So as I mentioned, you can just unloosen these 2 here, and then it's basically just on like a wee bracket, and you can just take this full fitting off without having to even bother with disconnecting anything. Like I said, I put that door back on, and I've got the fuse up here, so I'm satisfied that that's obviously going to be fine for me to cut through that flex. And then, like I said as well, the box is just up there, so if anybody was to come in the street, they would see me, or I would see them. And I'm sure I made the exact same point in my previous video, but obviously pliers necessarily aren't the right tool for this, but you can see how easily they're coming off, so it's not an issue in the slightest. And then I usually just put one of the clips back on, and then you can see that that's loose. I'll just take my bucket up a bit closer. So you can see that that's usually, ideally like a bit extra play in that flex, but you can see the idea. I'll just obviously need to take this off. Usually there's a bit extra on it that you can get the full fitting into the bucket. You can just cut the flex and you can just crack straight on, but I'll need to disassemble the inside of this just to maximise the amount of flex, because I'm going to be reusing this flex. That's what I've been instructed to do, unless there's clear or obvious signs of damage or deterioration to the flex. I have to leave it in situ. Right, so that's me obviously got my fitting off. That's the flex I've got to play with there, so that is plenty. So I'll just tape my 2 ends on and get that fitting pulled on. I'll not be able to do that on camera, because again I'm having to use my phone here. But once I've got that done, I'll show you. So this is obviously not the best way to show you, but again it's quite difficult. But so that's obviously butted up together there, get through that, and then obviously I'll just pull that tight and eventually get this on, and then I'll sort of go into it in more detail, but it's 5mm Allen keys for this one, but I'll get this on, get my fitting mounted, and I'll take it for the Airways. Right, so that's the fitting mounted, just two 5mm grub screws, got enough flex through this bit. Again, usually this is takes me on to gripe number 3 with this fitting. Usually you've got at least a little bit of play in here to be able to try and keep some double insulation in that, but the connections in this are tiny, but I'll do what I can. Generally I always will have my flex in past this point so I can clamp it down, but I'll see what I can do with this one. But they're just the nature of the size of this fitting, there's just no room to work in it. It's, look at all this as well, it's just so much going on in such a small fitting. That's that in, and it's on the it's on the outside of the flex, it's not on the single insulation. I'm not going to lie to make myself sound any better, but it took me longer to do that part than it's took me to do everything else so far. These fittings are terrible, I absolutely hate them. I'm going to do everything I can to avoid fitting them in the future. So then comes the next bit of this. It's just, this one maybe won't be as bad, but I just don't trust you're not catching any cables there when you're trying to obviously close so many into the one fitting. But again, what you need to do is cause further damage to it and pull it down there, and that's that bit locked. So it's just going to be a case of fitting the wee anti-tamper bolts, but or the wee anti-tamper screws, but I'll do that just now. Apologies, I meant to say and forgot to show, you can see the wee rubber bungs in there for the anti-tampers to go through, just obviously to act as a wee washer and a wee, this way to keep the IP rating as well. So once the anti-tamper screws are fitted, which have been done, obviously my short plug's on. The one thing that I nearly always forget to do is peel this wee sticker off. The reason I sort of leave it to last is obviously just in case I scratch all up in the bucket or anything like that, or with my tools or whatever, so take that wee thing off. I'll obviously do a wee tidy up, but we'll go down to the bucket, down to the base, sorry. We'll check that fuse, stick the fuse in, and I'll do a wee lap, and then I'll switch the box on, make sure this is working, but I can't see why it won't if the fuse is fine. But obviously to keep myself right, I'll go and switch the power on. So I might as well show you one up here, so obviously you can hear that beeping, so that fuse is fine to go back in. So once we're down at the bottom, stick that back in the cutout. We'll stick that back in the cutout, and like I said, we'll go and switch this power on, make sure this is working. I thought I'd just be as quick walking up to this because it's literally just down there, instead of having to turn the van round and all that sort of stuff. So let's see. So in this one, I think it's one of my most recent videos. So that 2-part cell here controlling this. So hopefully you'll be able to see that down there. Hopefully you'll be able to see that down there. You can see that that's lit. And that wee one there. Got a few jobs in this area, so that one there also got changed. I've got another couple to do, but you can see that my two are working, so I'm happy with that. So I'll go on to the next one, and if there's anything else I can show you today I will, but if not, I'll maybe just do a wee outro and that'll be the end of the video. I thought just before I sign this video off, that's my fitting there. Look at the size of it, it's tiny. There's absolutely no way that that's going to give as much light as these 55 watts. But I've still to see them at night, so I can't really properly comment on the actual light output of them, but there's, in my opinion, there's no chance that that's going to give off a decent enough amount of light. But Again, that's not my job, I only get paid to fit what I'm told to fit.